Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today, our topic is about the geothermal energy, which is also a kind of renewable energy available with the earth crust. So, these are the slides prepared by Ms. Nazish Aslam. So, I'm just going to explain these slides. For geothermal energy, it is simply the energy of the earth generated by various natural processes such as heat from when the planet formed and accelerated which has not yet been lost. So when the earth formed, it was very hot. It was a part of the sun, and then it got shattered or separated from the sun. So its mantle is very hot. So that heat is still in the core of the earth because earth itself is a very good insulator. So this accumulation has resulted in the high temperature of the earth crust. Also, there are a lot of radioactive elements which are present in the Earth's crust. So those radioactive elements usually have their half-lives and they undergo under decay. And because the radioactive elements, whenever they decay, they will generate energy, and that energy also remains in the crust of the Earth. Finally, there are different tectonic plates within the Earth's crust, from which we feel the earthquakes. Those tectonic plates, they pressurized each other. They has a friction between themselves, and because there is a movement between them, that friction generates huge amount of energies in the form of the heat that remain accumulated in this crust. So, although the surface of the Earth is a bit cold because of the rain and the water evaporation effects, but its crust is quite hot. So, that energy which is available within the Earth's surface or within the Earth crust, this is termed as geothermal energy. And you can see that the temperature of this Earth crust can reach up to 5,000 degrees centigrade at the center. So, huge amount of potential or huge potential or energy is available with this earth crust. So here are some examples for geothermal reservoirs. You can see geyser. In the geysers, you can see the water is gushing out because of the huge amount of energy is stored in this underground water. Similarly, we have the boiling mud pots. These are uh, the hot mud, minerals, and water mixture. Then obviously you know that volcanoes and hot lava which is coming out from the earth's surface is also type of geothermal energy. And you must have heard about the hot springs in the mountains, freezing mountains, and those hot springs are also an example of the geothermal reservoirs. In this slide, you can see that the temperatures of the Earth mantle or Earth core is given along with the depth. You can see that the maximum temperature that we can have is around 7,000 Kelvin, but it is really hard to achieve this temperature by sending some liquid or some harnessing fluid at this core depth. Usually, we do have the temperatures of around 150 degrees centigrade, which are able to generate superheated steam that can be used in Rankine cycle and other cycles for electricity generation. And then there are some middle temperatures reservoirs. Those have the temperature of 100 to 150 degrees centigrade. They can also generate some kind of electricity, but usually not with water, with some other fluids having less boiling point. And the low temperatures, they are used for the simple heating systems from 30 to 100 degrees centigrade for homes or district heating systems or central heating systems. For very low temperatures at around 30 degrees centigrade, like the hot springs, they can be used for domestic heating and cooling. Here you can see in this slide that there are two types of usage of geothermal energy is indicated. The one is the direct use of the geothermal energy. In the direct use, you can see the cold water or some cold fluid is sent into the well, which is well deep. so that the energy from the earth is transmitted to this water which is in the well, and then this after the heated water is pumped back for heating or cooling of the housing or system. You can see in the winter it will be the direct heating of the uh, home by using the geothermal energy. But for the summer, this heat is used to operate the refrigeration cycle, and for that refrigeration cycle, these are called the heat pumps. And I will explain this in detail to do the thermodynamics, the working of the heat pumps. And in the summer, they will act as a refrigeration cycle. How? Because there is some changeover of the heating system to cooling system for the housing. For the indirect type of use, you can see the steam or the water is sent into the earth crust. Here there is some mechanism for the transfer of the heat. Because of that heat, the water turns into the steam, and steam rises because of the gravity effects. Because water is more dense, it will go down, and steam is lighter, so it will come up. So a natural siphon is there. Then steam is sent to the turbine, and turbine rotates and generates electricity. And this again, at the end of the turbine, the water is again sent back to the reservoir. So, because you know that there is one thing is missing, that after the turbine there will be a condenser, and after the condenser the water will go into the earth crust again. So turbine cannot generate water directly; it needs a condenser here. So for the electricity generation, it is called dry steam power plant, flash steam power plant. Flash steam means that only saturated steam is used, and binary cycle power plant. The binary cycle power plant usually has two fluids, for example, the Carina cycle, and these are the some topics for details in thermodynamics where we will study how the two fluids will going to act as a medium for electricity generation. In this slide, you can see there is a direct heating system. There is some reservoir of water well deep in the earth crust. That reservoir is sent to some heat exchanger, and in the heat exchanger, it exchanges heat with some circulating fluid for the homes, and then this water sent back to the reservoir of the geothermal reservoir. So in this way, there are two cycles. One is for the water which is geothermally heated, and the other is with the fluid which is circulating for the heating or cooling purposes for houses. So this is the working fluid. It's called as working fluid, and this is termed as geothermal fluid or geothermal water. So here are some points for the direct heating system. It uses hot water from springs or reservoir near the surface. Direct use systems are typically composed of three components: a production facility, usually a well to bring the hot reservoir to the surface. So production facility means that there will be some pumping facility that suck the water or pump the water from the hot reservoir to the facility. Then there will be some mechanical system like piping, heat exchangers required to exchange the heat, and a disposal system because that water has to be sent back to the reservoir for completion of the cycle. So in this way, a direct heating system is devised. I'm going to explain that there are three types of indirect heating system. The first is the dry steam power plant, in which the water is sent to the earth crust, and the water is heated to 100 to 150 degrees centigrade, and it turns into the steam. The steam turns the turbine, and then there is a condenser which condenses the water, and this water is sent back into the geothermal reservoir. It must be noted that the temperature of this steam is quite low, it's 100 to 150 degrees centigrade. So the operation of this turbine will not be much efficient because the energy with this steam is relatively low. Uh, one option is to send this water much deeper into the earth crust so that the temperature of the steam rises more, but then capital cost of the plant is going to be very high, and it will not remain feasible for the generation of the electricity. So that's why this steam usually low power steam is usually used to run this type of dry steam power plant. They are the oldest plant, they are the rarest plant, and very few are operating. And the examples are in California, Italy, and Japan. The next type of the indirect heating system is the flash steam power plant, in which the hot water is sent to the heating reservoir, and this comes back here. There's a separator. The water steam separator is here. The steam is then injected into the turbine, and again this cycle is operated. This type of system requires pressure changing system, because this is the pressure changing system in which the water is evaporated in this high energy separator. And so this type of plants are operated in Hawaii, Nevada, and Utah and some other places. The third type of the power plants, which are binary cycle power plant, are the most favorite ones, or the most used one plants, in which the water cycle is different from the working fluid cycle. The water is sent into the earth crust, and then it comes back and it exchanges heat with secondary fluids. Usually this fluid is organic, having much lower boiling point than that of the water, so it evaporates, and evaporated organic fluid like isopentane, isobutane, and propane is used to turn this turbine, and electricity is generated. And this way, the most benefit from the benefit from the geothermal energy is that there are no harmful gases, and this type of plant is mostly used in harnessing the geothermal energy. So in this slide, the indirect heating system is summarized. You can see deep wells are drilled to extract heat from the underground reservoirs. Source temperature should be greater than 100 degrees centigrade. Obviously, below 100 degrees centigrade, the steam is possible at lower pressure, but then it would not be having much energy to run the plant. Works on the principle of a simple steam power plant, with the exception that geothermal energy is used instead of the fossil fuel. You know that how fossil fuel Rankine cycle is operated. Similarly, instead of the furnaces, we have the geothermal energy for the geothermal reservoirs. Hot water and steam is used to rotate the prime mover, obviously, to generate electricity, and heat energy is converted into mechanical energy, which in turn is used to generate electricity. So this is how the geothermal energy is currently being harnessed by using Rankine cycle, Kalina cycle, or two-fluid cycle. This slide shows the current status of geothermal reservoirs. You can see the United States, it leads the world, and with the total of around 2,500 megawatts of energy harnessed by geothermal energy. And this is the rest of the world which follows. And you can see there are 22 geothermal power plants known as the geyser complex, which are situated only in California. So huge potential is there, and the potential is also being harnessed. So now let us talk about the geothermal potential energy in Pakistan. You can see the geopressurized energy. Geopressurized mean that when there is a lot of pressure of the water under the earth crust, then the pressure will go, the water will going to ooze out in the form of the streams from the surface. That is called geopressure. So that streams energy is available in Pakistan, in some areas of the Pakistan, with these kind of amount of estimates. Similarly, we have the hydrothermal energy. Hydrothermal energy means that the water available underground available water having heated energy with it, and the estimated amount is somewhat this much. And deep geothermal energy, if we go deeper into the earth's crust, then there is a lot of geothermal energy available. And for the shallow thermal energy, this is again the estimated resources. And for the direct use, like heating of the homes, this is the available resources. So you can see in Pakistan, the hot springs are available in the regions of salt range, in northern areas, in the area of Sindh and Balochistan. And Balochistan, these are the very hot, and these are moderately hot springs. And obviously, this area, which is in the brown, it is the volcanic area, and here the volcanic energy is available, which is higher temperature than that of the high temperatures hot springs and low temperature hot springs. So these resources are distributed over these areas that has been appointed by the government of Pakistan Energy Division. So the highest temperature recorded in Hunza Valley is around 210 degrees centigrade for subsurface temperatures. So it's quite high temperature, and that can be harnessed for the generation of electricity. So mud volcanoes in Pakistan, mud volcanoes are created due to the combination of steam and minerals. I have shown you the picture, and these are available on the shores of Makran and Balochistan. And famous volcanoes are Chandragap, Jabal Ghurab, and Handewadi. More than 80 mud volcanoes are explored in Pakistan, so these volcanoes are also the tourist spots, and they can also be used for the harnessing geothermal energy. Obviously, the advantages for geothermal energies are they are environmental friendly, renewable, stable, massive potential. You can see the potential. It is around 10^31 joules and 100 billion times current worldwide annual energy consumption. So it is almost renewable, almost impossible to consume all. So this is huge potential. Great for heating and electricity generation. On the other hand, there are some disadvantages because of the environmental issues. Because if we harness this energy, then deep excavations are required, and which can result in surface instability, resulting in earthquakes and other kind of disruptions. And obviously, the installation's cost is very high because excavation processes and digging processes is not cheap. And obviously, they are also location specific. You cannot have this energy at any point because usually the surface temperature is quite low until certain level. So most of the surfaces available in Pakistan and in the on the planet are very deep for high temperatures. Usually the surface is cooled till then we can reach by excavators. So we need deep digging to have enough temperature for its harnessing. So, but naturally some surfaces are hotter from which this energy oozes out. So at those points, it is much easier to harness this energy. So that's why it is location specific. Okay, this is all from my side for this geothermal energy. Actually, there is only philosophy for these energies, and there are no mathematical calculations. I really do not want to teach this course like this because without the calculations, there is no meaning of engineering in the course. Anyway, as promised, I will not change the philosophy of the course, so I'm sticking to it, and we are going to have only go through the philosophy. An assignment has been uploaded for energy engineering, and similarly, like thermodynamics, you have to upload that assignment on the MS Team group, and by next Monday, not the coming Monday, next Monday. And you need to, I really want to have some mathematical calculations in that assignment. If you are able to do that, then it is going to have an added advantage for your grades. Inshallah, next time I will going to discuss the right solution for the assignment that I have given you to the in the thermodynamics course. And until then, stay safe and Allah Hafiz.